Jessica Bell from My Wine School, where it is wine your way. And I see a lot of people already on the chat roll. Everyone say hello to my beautiful sister, Karen Bell.
Hello.
Our co-chef. See, I'm loving the co-chef thing, co-host, but one of these days I'll be your co-chef.
I'll let you have it.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Give it to you. That's an easy
Well, that
one.
was easy.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you're wondering how to say hello to Karen, or I see John, I see two Johns out there. I see Brian, Emily, Michael. I see a lot of people on the chat roll already. If you're wondering how to say hello to everyone and get part of the conversation, it's real easy. If you're watching this live, off to the right, you'll see a place where we're chatting. And if you go to the bottom there, under audience, you type anything in and press return. It'll take you to this screen. You can log in if you have a Ustream login. If not, you can sign up on the spot. It'll take you to this screen, fill in the 5 fields, and boom, you are a part of our conversation here. So here we are at WineCAST number 38, and this is for our wine explorers, those of you who like to try new wines, new regions, and new grapes, and maybe think a little while doing it. So today, what we're up to is Argentina or bust. And we have here in the house, La Posta Cochina. I'm going to use the Italian accent that you hear so often in Argentina, from Mendoza, Argentina, 2009. And, we posted this title months ago, the Argentina or bust, but let me tell you, I feel that way. I need to go to Argentina right now, or I'm gonna bust. It's just been one of those days, those weeks. How about you? You need a break from life?
Sure.
How about you guys? I want to know, you guys have any? You guys need a break? I want to go to Argentina. I feel like I'm gonna bust if I don't head off to a place like Argentina these days. I actually had my first WineCAST for my new students in the Republic of Georgia at 8 a.m. this morning.
Here or there?
Here.
Okay.
I was here
Okay.
in America, and they were in the Republic of Georgia, and at 8 a.m. we did our first one. So can check that off the list until next week. So, but today, like I said, we are having some fun with Argentinian wine. Emily is going to hop on the plane with us too and head down to Argentina, I think. But like I said, has got La Posta Cochina, the Malbec. If you want to show them the bottle there, Karen, that would be awesome. And we're going to do it the Mendoza way. We're going to do it muy chill out. Okay, remember that? I don't know, in Spain, they use chill out as a adjective, right? We usually say, I'm going to chill out, like a verb. Well, they describe things as muy or very chill out instead of very chill. So I love using that. So muy chill out. So tonight it's all about having some fun and just chilling out with a bottle of wine. I see we've got different Mendoza Malbecs out there. I've got Elsa Bianchi. Emily has that one. Brian and John also have the La Posta 2009 Malbec as well. And actually, if you look on the back of this bottle, there is a novel. Okay, very New World approach there. But one quote is just right under Karen on the screen here. It says, "This Malbec is an annual tribute to our favorite Mendoza wine grape." And I thought that quote was very interesting because I think we take for granted often that Malbec and Argentina go hand in hand. You know, why do these two, this region and this grape, why are they together all the time? And it's true that actually Malbec is considered the national grape of Argentina. But why? And you know what's interesting? It didn't come from Argentina. Oh, no. In fact, most of all the grapes that you know by name recognition, so we can add Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc, Cabernet Sauvignon, all of those grapes all of those did come from the Old World. But if you can recognize the name of it, it probably came from the Old World. Not California, not Argentina, not Chile, none of those New World countries. So, in fact, Malbec comes from France. So, and it comes from all over France. In fact, there is a hospital in Paris that has Malbec planted in their garden for therapeutic uses. I know what kind of therapeutic uses I use with my Malbec. I don't know what they're doing at the hospital, but we'll let the doctors take care of that decision. But for the most part, our Malbecs in France are coming from the southwest part of France. And in fact, there's a couple regions in the southwest of France that are known for having Bordeaux. There you go. We're known for having Malbec. Bordeaux is one of them. Now, Bordeaux is a blend, typically a blend of red grapes. And I call Malbec our sixth man. You know, the guy that's left on the bench. The 5 starters are in, and Malbec's really on the bench. It sometimes makes an appearance, but when it does, it's a small amount. And the other region just due west of Bordeaux in southwest France is Cahors. You can see that right under Bordeaux. Whoop, over here. Whoop, whoop, over there. Okay. And I want to know, when is the last time, Karen, you or any of you guys out there drank a Cahors?
Actually, did not too long ago. I think 2 weeks ago down in Chicago, and about 2 months ago at Lake Park Bistro.
Look at you, our Cahors perfect.
Well, I find it a great value for a really good French wine. It's normally priced really, really well.
It is, and what's interesting is that with the rise of popularity of Malbec from Argentina, Cahors is actually making more of a place on the market too, because there's so much name recognition with the Malbec grape that Cahors can now turn around and sell it as a Malbec and get some grape recognition. Emily says she's overdue for her Cahors. It's been too long. I think Douglas was coming in on something and got distracted by his wine. He's like, oh, screw that idea. I'm taking a sip of my wine. But Douglas now came in, and it is very different from Argentinian Malbec, and that is true. And, you know, my point here is with Bordeaux, Malbec only being a small percentage of the blend, and Cahors not being a very commercially available. You have to look a little bit for it. It's not at every retail store. It's not on every wine list. And, you know, I'm not trying to say that Malbec doesn't do well in France. It can do very well. It's just, there might be a reason why Malbec doesn't have that strong hold on the French market. And what I'd like to say is that Malbec is a bit of a problem child when in France. It's not easy to raise a Malbec in France, and that's because Malbec is very sensitive to winter and spring frosts, and it also has very thin skins, and it needs tons of sunlight and ton of warmth. So let's see here. Doesn't like cool, wet weather. Probably not the best place to be in southwest France, which is known for being cool and wet. So, but it's interesting. With a problem child, if you give them a paintbrush or a guitar or something, you can find magic within all that mayhem, right? And I think the same might be true for Malbec as well. So let's find out where that magic is happening. And maybe this first wine IQ will be a good hint here. I want to know, first of all, this wine IQ is meant to get you involved and answer some questions here. And it stands for Wine Interactive Question. So where is over 2/3 of the world's Malbec planted? A, Bordeaux, France. B, Cahors, France. C, Argentina. Or D, California. Now, while you're doing that, I'm just going to talk a little bit about Argentina's climate. And maybe that's a little hint there, but I just want you guys to get some perspective on the difference between a place in Argentina like Mendoza, which is, let's call it the wine-making capital of Argentina, and Bordeaux, where we also see Malbec. Mendoza is at 32 degrees south latitude line, more or less, okay? Bordeaux is at 44 degrees north latitude line. Now, the further you are from the equator, the larger the number. So basically, Mendoza is a lot closer to the equator than Bordeaux. And in fact, the grape growing band around the world is 30 to 50 degrees. So actually, Mendoza is on the warm side of that limit, and Bordeaux is actually on the other side, the cooler side of that limit. So what does that translate to? Mendoza is hot. Okay, Argentina, when we think of Argentina and winemaking, we think of Mendoza. Okay, so Mendoza is hot. Now, how are they making such great wine if it's so hot? Well, it has something to do with this beautiful picture of the Andes Mountains. Okay, I actually was able to take this shot in a bus with my iPhone. So this is like, this is how beautiful they are, that I could catch that going around a curve at 80 miles per hour with this crazy bus driver. So, but the reason that the Andes makes such a difference is, one, the Andes is going to provide altitude. So altitude is going to help cool this otherwise really warm climate. And not only that, but take a look at this picture. This picture is really great for illustrating this second concept, is that these Andes mountains are really high. And so as clouds come from Chile, which is on the west side of the Andes, to Argentina, which is on the east side of the Andes, the heavy moisture-filled clouds get stuck on the Chilean side. Look at those little clouds at the top. What, those are like Sirius or Cirrus? Who knows? Who remembers? Like, I'm talking, middle school meteorology here. But those clouds are called something. But only those little wispy ones that have no rain whatsoever can come over the Andes. And as a result, Argentina and Mendoza is very dry. It is a desert. It is known as a desert. And actually where wine is made, they're actually called oases. So even though we're fairly close to the equator, the altitude and the dry factor really helps us create some really great grapes in Mendoza. So, interesting. Hot and dry. Sounds pretty good for our Malbec. Sounds like we might be getting to a magical spot here for Malbec. So, what are we seeing, Karen, on this first one?
Everyone's pretty much coming in with C for Argentina.
Okay, you guys are right. I kind of gave it away. Maybe some of you thought I was trying to trick you, but actually Argentina is the number one producer of Malbec. And it's interesting, the plantings of Malbec in Argentina are just going up and up and up, and France in general, what do you think? Going down. I added California here too, because just an interesting side note. California actually had a good amount of Malbec planted earlier in the history of winemaking for bulk wine, but since has dropped off, but maybe see a little bit of a resurgence now. So let's see here. What we want to do now is actually try the wine, right? I mean, this is why we're here tonight. Let's be honest. So let's go ahead and see if we can see some of these characteristics of Malbec in the glass. First, we always check out the color. Karen's going right to the... It's often forgotten. I will say I've already dove into. But I want you to go ahead and check out the color on this. And what you're going to see on this is these are very dark, usually have a bit of a purple hue in it. In fact, Cahors, at one time, and still now, these days, its nickname is black wine. That's how much color are usually in Malbec grapes. And even though, this is interesting, thin skins though. So that, it's just loaded with color in those thinner skins. Okay, let's go ahead and take a smell. Everyone, put your schnauzers in there. See what you get. And of course, that brings us to our wine IQ number 2. I always want to know what you guys are smelling on your wines. And while you're smelling and taking it all in, I want to tell you a little bit about how Malbec made its way to Mendoza or to Argentina. And how did it become so popular? Well, it probably came over in the early 19th century, early 19th century. And it had been there for a while. But Argentinian Malbec, the way we know it today, we can thank these people here. I was at the Catena winery in Mendoza, and I'm on the roof of their winery overlooking a number of their vineyards, and then you can see in the distance there the Andes Mountains, snow-capped Andes Mountains. Now, the Catena family has a really long history of winemaking in Argentina, but it wasn't until the 1990s that Nicolas, I think he was like the great-grandson of the first founder of Catena, he really took an interest in making quality wine. And he was, it was his father that was convinced that Malbec was perfect for Argentina or Mendoza. And a lot of people thought he was crazy. Well, Nicolas said, no, I think my dad was right, or my granddad. I forget which one really had the idea first. But it was Nicolas, who is still around, and his daughter Laura, I believe Laura is now really the face of the winery. Nicolas planted, the numbers, 145 different clones of Malbec. So it was all Malbec, but 45 different clones of it in a vineyard. And not only did he plant it in a vineyard, but he planted it really high in elevation. And at about 5,000 feet, okay? So that's gumption, right? 145 clones, that's insane. And from that, he chose only a few to be used as the top clones that worked best in Mendoza. So Karen, what are we seeing people smelling?
Yeah, we're getting lots of different stuff all over the board. Douglas came in with some mint and tea aromas. Emily said dark fruit and spice and agrees with Douglas on the tea. Michael said fruit and fruit and other, A and D.
Okay.
And Salin got black fruit, leather, and spice.
Great. Yeah, I think we're all we're kind of on a black fruit, dark fruit, and that's very typical of Malbec. Definitely got black currant, dark plum notes on it. I love what you guys are saying, spice and leather. I got a little sweet tobacco on it as well.
I got a little floral too,
violet. Floral. Yeah, you know what? A lot of Malbecs, Argentinian Malbecs, are really known for having that violet note as well. Black pepper as well. And you know what I also get? Alcohol. I don't know about you guys. I don't know if you're getting the alcohol on your nose, but it's kind of typical to get a bit of that burn the back of your throat when you smell too hard. I also want to thank Felicia for coming in and telling us the name of those clouds, the cirrus clouds. So now we all know what they're called. Thank you, Felicia. Appreciate it. So all over the map, but this is what's great about Malbecs from Argentina is that they have the potential to show complexity. What we're all saying is that it's all over. Mint and tea, dark fruit, spice, leather, tobacco, violets. I mean, that's complexity right there. This particular vineyard that we have is at about 3,000 feet. Usually as you go higher in elevation, you're going to get a wine that's perhaps going to have more complexity, more quality, higher quality. Not always, but this one is at, like I said, 3,000 feet, which is still a fairly high elevation. Now the fun part. Go ahead. Let's all take a sip. I'm sure you've all, skipped ahead a little. I hope at least. Go ahead and take a sip. And what I want you to focus on right now is flavor. Is it an intense flavor or a mild flavor? Tannin. Okay. Tannin is that kind of rough sandpaper feel you get on your gums and your tongue. Acid, which is difficult sometimes on a high alcohol red to really focus in on acid. So I wouldn't be surprised if we're all over the map on acid. And then alcohol, which we kind of just talked about. And the reason why I want you to focus on these things is that flavor, tannin, and acid, here they are. So acid, tannin, and flavor, the other way around. Those three things are the three things you look for when you want to judge whether wine is capable of aging and aging well. And this is a really hot topic for Malbecs right now. Can they age? Do they age? And and obviously we're applying a blanket statement to a large group of wines, but it is a hot topic. So in theory, yes, they can age. If they are grown at this higher elevation, the higher elevation you get, the more acid you would get. There's a lot of talk about the skin's becoming thicker because of more UV light, and so you'll get more flavor. That's where most of our flavor comes from. And then tannin as well. You might get a little higher tannin on it. So in theory, yes, if it's grown in the right place, the winemaker's intentions are for it to be aged. But we also see a lot of Argentinian Malbecs that should not be aged. They're not meant to. So let's see about this one. Let's see what you guys think. Karen, what are people saying about the acid, tannin?
Yep, Salin came in with light tannins, good fruit, some acidity, and alcohol.
Perfect, okay.
Emily also said mild tannin, but loads of spice and decent acid, but not super high.
Yeah, you guys, great comments. You're both hitting the nail on the head with light tannins. Okay, so we don't have tannins. Acid. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's hard on this, and the reason is because there's a lot of alcohol on it, even though they say 13.5, I think. Yeah, 13.5. You do get a bit of a burn, which makes your mouth water, which we often tend to think is acid. This one, though, has a bit of a flatness. Not in a necessarily bad way. It's got a nice texture to it that we wouldn't perhaps have if the acid was higher. Pardon me. So the tannin's medium to low, the acid is medium, and the flavor, there's flavor there, but really without that acid and tannin, it's going to be very difficult to age it gracefully. So yeah, I think you guys came to the same conclusion through your tasting notes, is this wine really isn't meant to be aged. This one is really meant to be drunk now. It's got a very quintessential mouthfeel that we see on a lot of Argentinian Malbecs. It's soft, it's velvety, it's plush, you know, and I think that's why a lot of people like it. That mouthfeel is really pleasant, and it just goes down easy. It's an easy wine to drink. So, as we said, this one probably is not going to age. Another thing that you would tune into is the alcohol levels. If the alcohol is high and all those other things are on the lower side, alcohol's not going anywhere. So that's going to stay constant, and all the other things, well, tannin will go down, flavor will go down, acid will remain fairly constant across the board. So with the loss of flavor and tannin, acid and alcohol, if that's all you're left with, that doesn't taste good. A mouthful of acid and alcohol, not what I'm looking for in my wine. So yeah, like I said, this wine that we have is meant to be drunk early. But you know, I would love for you guys to tell me if you have had any Argentinian Malbecs that you especially have thought could potentially age, because they are out there. You can find Argentinian Malbecs that are, you know, $20 to $30, grown at a higher altitude, and really have the potential to age. Catena's high altitude wines just pop into mind since I've been there. Those are ones that definitely, I think, have a great potential for aging. They're a little on the higher end in terms of price as well. So let's see, I think that is what we've got. I don't know if there's any other questions or thoughts out there, Karen, you wanted to share with us.
Well, Michael just asked earlier in the WineCast if Malbec is known as Malbec in France.
Great. Oh, wow. I'm wondering if you're trying to trick me on this one. Malbec actually has a lot of names in France. So, okay, let me see if I can, I'm not going to remember them all, but like Côte, C-O-T, I think that's in the Loire, Auxerrois, hold on, there's another one. It come in anyone else if you know them. There's like Pressac, I think. That one, I don't quote me on that. It's like, I think it's Pressac. But don't quote me on that. The Côte and the Auxerrois you can quote me on. Yeah. Go ahead. I want the credit, and I want mywineschool.com. Go to that website. But great question. It actually has a lot, and it actually is what makes it easy to confuse it with other grapes, because there's other grapes that have the word Auxerrois on it, so people get them confused. But great question, Michael. It has a lot of different names in Argentina. So, did anyone come in with any names?
Well, earlier Douglas, I have to give Douglas props. Earlier he answered Michael's question.
Oh, you did?
With Côte, but I wanted to put it out there for you.
Oh, see, look at her! She was like, "Ooh, let's catch Jess all off guard and see if we can make her look dumb." Okay, phew, I passed the test.
Yes,
okay, good. Well, any other questions, Karen? I'm afraid to ask her now. My goodness. She's supposed to be my sister. No, I'm kidding. I know.
No, that's it.
Pressac. Is that what I said?
Emily, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think that's what I said. Pressa. Mm-hmm. I was like thinking Pessac Leon. Is that what I'm thinking? So, but I think I was on. Oh, okay. Well, that's all the time we have for today. But next week, we're actually going to take a week off because I'm up to my ears in getting ready to go off to the Republic of Georgia on April 15th. So next week we're not doing more Argentinian wine. That's what we were going to do. But I thought we'll just jam it all into one WineCast tonight. And then in 2 weeks, right before I leave, I mean like the eve before I leave, April 13th, Friday the 13th, we're doing Foodie Friday with a side of wine. We're going to have a little fun before I head off. And I just want to mention also, Foodie Friday with a side of wine. We had a lot of fun last week, so check it out. But we talked about boxed wine, and I have boxed wine in my fridge, and I'm loving the concept. Can I just put this on record? I'm loving the concept of boxed wine. Now, if only winemakers would put really good wine in there. I mean,
starting to.
Yeah, they're starting to, and I love the concept. The wines that we had were decent, but they were at a $5 to $7 range. So you can only have so much quality in them. They're good, quaffable wines. But I like have a tap, I feel like, in my own fridge. It's dangerous. But I, like to have 2 glasses of wine with dinner and just open the fridge and, I'm loving it. So please, winemakers, put the wines that you don't want to age, are not meant for aging, but are fantastic wines, put them in boxes for me. Oh, yeah. Love the idea.
Easier shipping.
Yeah, better shipping. Exactly.
Yep.
So look at me. I'm a changed woman after last week. So you better go watch that WineCAST from last week. Check it out. It was Foodie Friday with a side of wine, March 23rd. So, all right, guys. Well, I'm glad you joined us tonight. And if you liked what you saw, tell a friend, invite them over, share a bottle with them, and tune into my wine school, where it's wine your way. We'll see you next time.